The palace hall was vast, its ceiling stretching high above like the spine of a colossal beast. Light shimmered from crystal chandeliers, scattering across polished floors where the Zytherian nobles waited. Their eyes, sharp and alien, followed the human girl as she was escorted forward. Leora walked with her head high, though her stomach churned. Her hands were clenched at her sides, and every nerve screamed at her to run, but curiosity had pushed her further than fear. A ripple of laughter spread through the crowd when she stepped into the center. They had never seen a human before, and to the Zytherians, humans were small, fragile, and amusing. A tall noble with skin like molten silver leaned forward, his voice slicing through the hall. "Is this the creature they call human?" His tone was mocking, dripping with superiority. "She dares stand among us without bowing?" Leora's heart pounded, but she refused to kneel. Her voice, though soft, carried clearly across the hall. "I do not bow to cruelty or mockery." The words startled some in the court, and a few whispers of disbelief spread. No human had ever dared speak like that. The noble's laughter erupted, louder this time, crueler, but Leora did not flinch. From a raised platform the emperor watched, his expression unreadable. His eyes were like liquid night, reflecting both amusement and curiosity. He leaned forward, resting his elongated fingers on the golden rail. "A human with fire," he said, his voice low but resonant. "Interesting. Perhaps we will see if she can withstand the court's scrutiny." The nobles circled her slowly, examining her as one would a rare artifact. They pointed out her small frame, her uneven gait, her human imperfections, each comment a barb meant to wound. Leora felt heat rising in her cheeks, but she swallowed her fear and focused on breathing steadily. She refused to give them the satisfaction of panic. A noble with horns curling like spirals of smoke stepped closer. "Your kind is weak, small and laughable," he sneered. "Why should we waste time with you?" Leora looked directly at him, eyes steady. "Because even the smallest can be dangerous when underestimated." Her words hung in the hall like a challenge, drawing gasps from some corners of the audience. A murmur ran through the crowd. Some nobles whispered among themselves, astonished at her audacity. Others scowled, irritated by a human who would dare resist their authority. Leora's voice did not tremble as she continued. "I may be human, but I will not be humiliated without standing my ground." The emperor's eyes narrowed slightly, a flicker of intrigue passing through his expression. He raised a hand and a group of alien attendants brought forward a pedestal. On it rested a delicate device, humming faintly. "Prove your courage," the emperor said. "Step onto this platform. Let the court see if a human can endure what we endure daily." Leora hesitated only a moment. She glanced at the crowd, at the sneering faces, at the emperor's unreadable gaze. Then she stepped forward. Her boots clicked against the polished floor as she ascended the pedestal, her movements deliberate. A sudden vibration shook the device beneath her feet, sending a shiver through her body. The Zytherians chuckled at her unease. "You feel fear," the horned noble hissed. "Do you think humans are brave?" Leora clenched her fists, gritting her teeth. "Fear is not weakness. It is a signal that you are alive and aware." Her words were quiet but fierce, carrying defiance into every corner of the hall. The device beneath her began to emit lights, shifting colors from cold blue to fiery red. The hall grew tense. Some nobles leaned forward, fascinated, while others muttered in disapproval. Leora's legs trembled, but she held her balance. She realized that the device measured more than her courage. It measured her will, her refusal to bend to ridicule. A whisper came from one of the nobles behind the emperor. "She may be human, but she does not break easily." The emperor's lips curved into the faintest hint of a smile. "Indeed," he said softly, almost to himself, "there is more to this one than meets the eye." Leora's eyes scanned the room, noticing the subtle changes, the way some aliens hesitated before speaking, the way the laughter faltered at moments, the way the whispers grew curious. Even in humiliation, she had shifted the energy of the court. Small, unnoticed victories built quietly under the weight of scrutiny. The horned noble stepped back, frowning. "We expected fear, tears, begging," he muttered. "Instead, she stands tall, mocking our expectation." Leora's lips curved into the tiniest of smiles, though her chest heaved. The moment was fleeting, but it carried a silent message. Humans were not to be underestimated. As the emperor descended from his platform, the hall fell into uneasy silence. His gaze met Leora's, intense and searching, as though weighing every heartbeat, every breath. "We will see if you survive what is to come," he said. The words carried a promise or a threat. Leora could not tell which. The crowd's laughter faded into murmurs of curiosity, tension threading the air like an electric current. Leora stepped down from the pedestal, her legs shaky but her spirit unbroken. She had endured the first trial, not of pain but of humiliation, and in doing so she had awakened a spark of doubt in the Empire's perfect order. The game had only begun, and already the balance had shifted slightly toward the unexpected. The palace doors slammed shut behind her, echoing like thunder in the empty hallways. Leora's pulse raced, each beat reminding her that this was only the beginning. She had survived ridicule, but the Emperor's test had only just begun. Ahead lay a corridor lined with shimmering panels that flickered with strange symbols. The air smelled sharp, like ozone, and her boots clicked nervously on the polished floor. A deep voice boomed from nowhere, vibrating through the walls. "Human, if you wish to prove your worth, you must survive the trials. Each one is designed to break your body and mind." Leora swallowed hard, though her gaze did not falter. "I am ready," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. The first chamber opened like a maw. Inside, the floor was covered in shifting tiles that glowed red in random patterns. One wrong step and a tile would collapse, dropping her into a pit she could not see. She hesitated for a heartbeat, then leapt forward, her instincts guiding her. Each tile that sank beneath her weight sent her heart into her throat. The crowd she imagined in her mind faded. It was just her against the unknown. "You move with caution," the voice said almost approvingly. "Yet caution alone will not save you." Leora's eyes scanned the room quickly. She noticed faint markings along the walls, slight scratches, patterns that hinted at a safe path. She adjusted her steps, leaping and rolling with a grace she had not known she possessed. Fear still burned in her chest, but she turned it into focus. When she reached the end of the chamber, another door opened, releasing a hiss of air. Inside, the next trial awaited, a corridor filled with pulsating energy blades swinging in unpredictable rhythms. Leora froze for a moment, studying their pattern, then sprinted forward, ducking and twisting as sparks of alien energy scorched the air around her. The blades grazed her shoulder, a searing pain that made her cry out, but she did not stop. "You endure well," the voice murmured. "Few have lasted this far." Leora clenched her teeth, ignoring the burn in her muscles. She felt every step in her body, every calculated movement a defiance of expectation. She realized the Emperor was testing more than her courage, he was measuring her creativity, her ability to improvise under impossible conditions. The next chamber was dark, nearly pitch black. Shadows moved like living creatures across the walls, and a low growl reverberated in the floor beneath her feet. Something lurked in the darkness, faster and stronger than any human. Leora's hands shook slightly as she reached into her pack and pulled a small device, a light flare she had scavenged from a previous encounter. She activated it, and a blinding light revealed the creature, sleek, armored, with eyes that glowed like molten gold. It crouched, ready to pounce. "You must fight or be consumed," the voice said calmly. Leora's heart hammered as the beast leaped. She dodged, barely, rolling under its claws and striking it with a flare. It hissed and circled her, faster than she expected. She realized brute force would not work, she needed strategy. Using quick thinking, she lured the creature toward a trap in the chamber, a grid that shocked anything it touched. With careful timing, the beast fell into it, thrashing and screeching but finally incapacitated. Panting, Leora stumbled out of the chamber, sweat stinging her eyes. Her hands shook uncontrollably, and her legs were heavy with exhaustion. She had survived, but the trials were designed to push her beyond normal limits. She felt the raw edge of fear like a blade across her mind, but also something else, a surge of pride. She had survived where none expected her to, and each victory, small as it was, burned a mark into her memory. A sudden door opened at the end of the corridor, and the chamber beyond was filled with swirling, poisonous gas. Leora coughed violently, feeling her lungs burn. From the ceiling, mechanical arms descended, each holding strange weapons designed to trap or impale. She dodged with desperate agility, weaving between attacks, her mind racing for solutions. She grabbed a canister of gas suppressant from a shelf and triggered it, the cloud dissolving with a hiss. A hush fell across the palace hall as the Emperor's voice resonated again. "Remarkable," he said. "Few humans could endure even the first challenge, let alone the next." Leora's chest heaved, and for a moment, her mind wandered to home, to a world where she was ordinary. But that life was gone, replaced by this crucible of alien cunning. Her fear was still there, thick and choking, but it had become a weapon. Every step she had taken, every risk she had faced, had sharpened her resolve. The final chamber awaited, its doors closing with a metallic clang behind her. Leora could hear whispers echoing through the corridors, some in admiration, some in disbelief. She tightened her fists, feeling the pain in her shoulders and legs, feeling the burn of every bruise. "I will survive," she whispered to herself. Not for glory, not for approval, but because surrender was impossible. And in the silence before the final test, a new awareness settled in her mind. The Emperor was not merely testing strength. He was testing ingenuity, courage, and human unpredictability. The game had grown deadlier and the stakes higher, but for the first time, Leora realized she was not just surviving. She was learning, adapting, and beginning to understand how a human could defy even the mightiest of alien designs. Leora stumbled into a dim corridor, her body trembling from the trials she had endured. The air was cool, carrying a faint metallic scent, and the walls seemed to hum with hidden energy. She pressed herself against the cold surface, listening. Footsteps echoed somewhere ahead, measured and careful. She held her breath, expecting the Emperor's guards, but instead, a voice whispered from the shadows. "Human," it said, soft and cautious. "Do you truly wish to survive here?" Leora's heart leapt, suspicion sharpening her senses. "Who's there?" she demanded, her voice low but firm. A figure stepped forward, cloaked and half hidden in darkness. Its face was partially covered, but the eyes gleamed with intelligence and fear. "Not all in this palace serve the Emperor willingly," the figure said. "I can help you, but trusting an alien is dangerous." Leora's mind raced. Allies could be traps, but she had learned already that brute strength would not save her. She studied the stranger's stance, the careful way it carried itself, the hidden tension in its limbs. "I have no choice," she admitted. "I cannot survive alone." The alien exhaled sharply, relief flickering in its eyes. "Then follow me. There are secrets even the Emperor does not want exposed." They moved quickly, the corridor twisting and turning in ways that seemed impossible, leading to a hidden chamber. Inside, walls glowed with maps and holograms of the palace, showing secret passages, hidden guards, and rooms where forbidden experiments were conducted. "They are preparing to enslave humans," the alien said, voice low and urgent. "Not just you, they plan to capture many from your world, to study, to control. I have opposed this quietly, but I cannot stop them alone." Leora's chest tightened. Her pulse raced with a mixture of fear and determination. "Then we stop them," she said, surprising herself with the strength in her voice. "Tell me everything." The alien nodded. "The Emperor's council is divided. Some admire his cruelty, some fear it, and a few of us believe it must end. You've already shaken the court, human. They whisper your name in disbelief. That is why I chose to reveal myself now." Leora felt a spark of hope, but doubt crept in. "Why me? I'm just one human. How can I change anything?" "You are not just one human," the alien said sharply. "You have survived trials designed to break beings far stronger than you. Your courage inspires others. And your unpredictability, humans do not follow patterns the Emperor expects. That is power." Together they planned a cautious strike. Leora learned the palace's hidden routes, places where guards did not patrol, rooms with knowledge forbidden to ordinary eyes. Each step required careful timing and silent movement. When a guard passed too close, she froze, heart hammering, every muscle tense. Her mind raced to memorize every sound, every shadow, every flicker of movement. The alien led her to a chamber filled with ancient Cytherian relics. "Among these," it said, "are tools you may need. You may find weapons you do not understand, or information the Emperor hopes will remain hidden forever." Leora ran her hands over the smooth surfaces, sensing the weight of history and the danger it carried. She chose a small device, simple yet strangely powerful, feeling a surge of anticipation. A sudden noise shattered the quiet. Footsteps, heavier and more deliberate than before, echoed down the hidden passage. Leora's companion tensed. "The Emperor's personal guards," it whispered. "You must hide." Leora ducked behind a console, her breath coming in shallow bursts. The guards swept past, scanning the chamber with lethal precision. She felt the sharp sting of fear, the knowledge that a single misstep would mean death. Yet when the guards moved on, she realized her pulse had steadied. She was learning to control her fear, to use it as a tool rather than a weakness. When the danger passed, the alien studied her closely. "You are stronger than I imagined," it said, a hint of admiration in its tone. "The Emperor will soon test you directly. You must be ready. The next trial will not be about physical strength, it will be about survival against deception, betrayal, and your own doubts." Leora's mind churned with possibilities. The Emperor had already humiliated her, tested her courage, and pushed her body to its limits. Now the palace itself became a maze of secrets, with allies hidden in the shadows and enemies lurking in every corridor. Her fear was sharper, but so was her resolve. She realized that the true battle would be for the hearts and minds of those who had been silent, the ones who whispered in the dark, unsure whether to obey cruelty or follow the spark she had ignited. A soft vibration ran through the floor beneath her feet. The alien stiffened. They know we are here. Time is short. Leora took a deep breath, her fingers brushing the device she had chosen. Her muscles ached and her body screamed for rest, but she felt alive in a way she had never known. Every step, every hidden chamber, every secret she uncovered sharpened her mind. "Lead me," she said, her voice steady. "We have work to do." The alien nodded, and together they slipped into the shadows of the palace, moving quickly, silently, a small, defiant force against the Emperor's vast power. Leora knew the road ahead would be more dangerous than anything she had faced, but for the first time she did not feel alone. She had an ally, someone who believed in the possibility of change, and she had discovered the truth. Even within the walls of tyranny, rebellion could breathe and a human girl could become its spark. The palace shook with sudden movement as alarms blared through hidden speakers, sharp and urgent. Leora froze, her chest tight, as a deep, commanding voice echoed in every hall. "Traitors," it thundered. "The human conspires with those who would defy me. Seeker, do not fail." The Emperor's personal guard poured into the corridors, their cybernetic limbs gleaming under the pale lights. Each step was precise, deliberate, and deadly. Leora's heart raced as she grabbed the alien companion's hand. "We have to move," she hissed. The shadowed passageways they had relied on for safety now felt like a trap closing in around them. Through narrow halls and secret staircases they ran. The air was thick with tension, the faint scent of metal and ozone clinging to everything. Sparks flew from broken conduits overhead, and Leora ducked instinctively as a piece of twisted metal fell just inches from her shoulder. Her legs burned, lungs screaming for air, but fear had sharpened her instincts. Every corner held danger, every echo could be the Emperor's guard. A mechanical roar split the air, and one of the guards appeared, stepping out from a shadow. Its eyes glowed red, scanning. Leora froze, calculating. The alien whispered, "Distract it. I'll open the side exit." Without hesitation, she grabbed a small mirror from her pack and angled it toward the light, reflecting a sharp beam into the guard's sensors. The machine halted, sparks flying across its armor. Leora's pulse raced, the thrill of survival coursing through her. They slipped into a narrow shaft, winding downward into hidden levels beneath the palace. The walls hummed, alive with energy, and Leora felt the raw power of the Emperor's domain pressing against her chest. She could hear distant alarms and the metallic pounding of pursuit. "We're not safe yet," the alien whispered, voice tight. "He will not stop until he sees you broken or dead." They emerged into a chamber of shifting platforms suspended over a deep pit, lights flickering with dangerous patterns. The Emperor's guards appeared above, descending from the upper levels with precision. Leora swallowed her fear and took a deep breath. "We have to cross," she said, feeling the cold steel under her fingertips as she leapt onto the first platform. The alien followed, moving with agility that almost matched hers. Sparks erupted from a broken platform beneath her, sending her heart into her throat. She leapt to the next, muscles trembling, lungs burning. The guards fired, energy bolts streaking past, scorching the edges of the platforms. One bolt struck a platform, shaking it violently. Leora teetered, gripping the edge, and felt panic surge. But she forced herself to breathe, to focus. Every jump, every calculated movement was a defiance of death itself. Halfway across, a panel beneath the alien companion's feet collapsed. Leora reached out, catching its arm, pulling it up just as the platform fell into the darkness below. They scrambled to the next ledge, chests heaving. "We can't let him catch us here," Leora panted. "There's more to the palace than he knows. Follow me." The corridors twisted, the walls themselves seeming to shift under the Emperor's will, but Leora's mind raced faster than the palace could adapt. She led them through hidden passages, climbing over pipes, sliding under conduits, moving with a fluidity born from desperation. Every heartbeat felt like a countdown to death. She could hear the guards' relentless pursuit, the scraping of cybernetic limbs against stone, the hiss of energy weapons charging. Suddenly, the Emperor appeared in a massive chamber ahead, his tall figure framed by a glowing throne. His presence was overwhelming, eyes like molten black, studying her with a mix of wrath and fascination. "So," he said, his voice cutting through the chaos, "the human persists. Do you truly believe you can defy me?" Leora's chest heaved, fear gnawing at her resolve, but she squared her shoulders. "I don't believe," she said, voice steady despite the trembling in her legs. "I know." He raised his hand and the floor beneath them trembled. Energy barriers shot up, cutting off escape routes. Guards encircled them, weapons raised, waiting for her failure. The alien companion glanced at her, uncertainty flashing in its eyes. Leora felt a surge of determination. She had survived ridicule, deadly trials, and now she faced the Emperor himself. There was no turning back. Drawing on every lesson from the trials, she activated the device she had found in the hidden chamber. It emitted a pulse of energy that destabilized the guards' cybernetics, sending them staggering. Sparks flew, alarms blaring louder, but the pulse had also cracked a section of the Emperor's floor. A gap appeared, narrow but enough. "Now!" Leora shouted. She leapt across the widening chasm, the alien companion close behind. The Emperor's roar of fury followed them as they landed safely on the other side. Sparks showered the chamber, fire licking the edges, but they kept moving, adrenaline sharpening every sense. Behind them, the palace seemed to groan and twist in response to the Emperor's wrath. Leora felt exhaustion clawing at her, every muscle screaming, yet she pressed on. Survival was not enough now. She had to outthink, outmaneuver, and defy him at every turn. Fear had become a weapon, desperation a guide. Through the shadows, she realized something important. The Emperor was powerful but predictable in his arrogance. Every challenge, every trap, every guard moved with precision, but humans did not follow patterns. That unpredictability could turn the tide. She felt the thrill of possibility spark within her, a dangerous, intoxicating hope. As they disappeared into the hidden corridors once more, the Emperor's roar echoed behind them, shaking the walls and reverberating through Leora's bones. She clutched the alien companion's arm, panting, mind racing, heart pounding. "This isn't over," she whispered. "No," the alien said, voice grim but resolute. "The next step will be the hardest. He will not forgive defiance, and neither will his palace. But you have shown him something he never expected, that a human can fight and endure against everything he commands." Leora nodded, determination hardening in her chest. The palace was a labyrinth of death and deception, but she had learned to survive. Now she would have to learn to strike back, and the Emperor had no idea what she was capable of. The hidden corridors opened into a vast chamber, brighter than any Leora had seen. Light poured from crystalline walls, reflecting off polished floors like liquid fire. The Emperor stood at the far end, his tall frame rigid, eyes dark with fury. Around him, nobles and guards filled the room, tension crackling in the air like static. Every step Leora took echoed through the hall, each one deliberate, each one a challenge. "You have survived every trial," the Emperor said, voice low, deadly calm. "Yet you persist. Tell me, human, do you believe yourself a threat?" Leora's chest heaved, legs trembling from exhaustion, but her eyes held steady. "I don't believe," she said firmly. "I know." A ripple of whispers ran through the gathered Zytherians. Some looked at her with fear, others with disbelief, but more than a few with curiosity. Her defiance had spread like wildfire through the palace, reaching those who had never dared question the Emperor's authority. The alien companion moved close, silent and alert, a steady presence beside her. The Emperor's hands rose, and a wave of energy surged across the chamber. Guards flinched, shields flickered, and the air burned with power. Leora ducked instinctively, then raised the small device she had carried from the hidden chamber. A pulse of light shot outward, rippling through the floor and disrupting the Emperor's energy field. Sparks danced along the walls as the guards staggered, caught off balance. "You rely on tricks," the Emperor said, anger sharpening his voice. "But courage alone will not save you." "I don't rely on courage alone," Leora said, moving forward. "I rely on the truth." Her eyes scanned the room. She had learned the palace's secrets, the hidden chambers, the forbidden knowledge. She activated another device, projecting holographic images above the floor. Schemes, records, and hidden plans of the Emperor's enslavement of humans spun in the air, impossible to ignore. Gasps echoed as nobles and guards saw the evidence. The Emperor's face darkened, fury turning to shock. Whispers of revolt began, quiet at first, then louder, as Zytherians realized they had been complicit in a cruelty many had secretly doubted. Leora felt her fear fade, replaced by a fierce, electric thrill. Her defiance had sparked something far larger than herself. The Emperor stepped forward, his form imposing, but his voice trembled slightly, betraying a crack in his control. "You think these illusions can topple me?" he demanded. "They are not illusions," Leora said. "They are truth. You hid cruelty behind tradition and power, but I have seen it and others have seen it too. You are not untouchable." The alien companion stepped forward, speaking to the nobles around them. "We have stayed silent too long. The human is right. Your empire has ignored morality, ignored justice. This can end, but only if we act now." A murmur grew into a roar as more Zytherians stepped forward, some lowering weapons, others joining Leora's side. The Emperor's gaze shifted rapidly, the room's power balance tilting beneath him. Leora could see panic flicker in his eyes for the first time. He had underestimated a human, underestimated the spark that curiosity, courage, and defiance could ignite. "You will not survive this," he hissed, raising a hand to strike. But before he could act, Leora's device pulsed again, disrupting his energy manipulation. Sparks flew, lights flickered, and for a moment, the Emperor's formidable presence faltered. Leora advanced, each step confident, unbroken, her exhaustion forgotten in the surge of momentum. "Look around you," she shouted. "Your empire is filled with beings who can think, who can choose. You cannot rule through fear alone." The chamber shook with murmurs, cries, and exclamations. The nobles wavered, and even some guards hesitated, uncertainty flashing in their eyes. The Emperor stumbled back, his fury now mingled with disbelief. "Impossible," he muttered. "A human, defying me?" "Yes," Leora said, her voice steady, her gaze piercing. "One human can make a difference. One human can refuse to bow, to be broken, to be silenced. And I will not be the last." With that, the Emperor's personal guards hesitated, unsure who to follow. Some Zytherians stepped forward, surrounding him, refusing to obey his orders. The balance of power had shifted. Leora stood tall, chest heaving, fear replaced by exhilaration. She had survived ridicule, deadly trials, and near-certain death. Now she had sparked change that no machine, no palace, no tyrant could fully suppress. The Emperor's gaze swept over the room, anger still burning, but tempered by the realization of his weakened control. Leora met his eyes without fear, and for the first time she saw uncertainty there, a flicker of doubt that could grow into collapse. "You are not defeated," he said, voice low, "but this will not be forgotten." "Neither will I," Leora said, smiling faintly. "You taught me strength, cunning, endurance. I will carry it forward, for those who cannot yet stand for themselves." The nobles murmured again, some stepping back, others nodding subtly. The alien companion glanced at her, pride in its eyes. Leora felt the weight of exhaustion, pain, and triumph all at once. She had endured the Emperor's wrath, survived the palace's hidden dangers, and stood victorious, not by killing, not by sheer power, but by courage, intelligence, and the spark of human defiance. The chamber grew quiet, tense but no longer fearful. The Emperor's throne, once a symbol of absolute dominance, now seemed brittle and hollow. Leora had shown that even the mightiest could be challenged, even the most rigid system could bend before resilience and determination. And in that silence she realized something profound. Survival was only the beginning. Change was possible, and it started with her. She had triumphed not just over the Emperor, but over doubt, fear, and expectation itself. The empire had been shaken, and a human girl had become the spark of something far greater than herself.